Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Speaking Nerd Podcast, the place to talk about all things comics, movies, TV, video games, and everything nerdy. So we were going through episodes for like the last couple weeks or so. We've been doing kind of just big, events or we've been talking about doing events like the whole Disney Plus stuff, and I think somebody mentioned doing like Tokyo Games Week or something like that, but we were brainstorming one night and I was like, oh shit, we never got around to doing a video about The Boys Season 3. So, originally we were going to do this right after the season ended. I think maybe it was like a few days after the finale hit. But, I wanted to have a guest come on with us, but he was just busy doing his own things, which is fine. Sometimes that happens with, people you're trying to collaborate with. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. So, no ill will there. So, it's just me and Swifty. The others haven't either watched the season or watched the show because they're chumps.
Which I don't know why. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what their problem is. And Alter started it and just decided not to finish it.
Yeah, because I thought because since he was pretty near caught up by that point, like I figured he would be a good pick to kind of join us in talking about The Boys Season 3, but no, that didn't work out. So.
No. I guess we'll have to wait till Season 4 comes out. And I bet you by the time Season 4 comes out, AJ will still not have seen it.
Probably not. Which is a shame, too, because this show's great. So.
Oh, it is great.
So yeah, just like last time, we're going to be going through each episode and, just kind of talking about it in general, what we liked, disliked, that kind of thing. And then just going, how we feel about just the season as a whole by the end. So, it's been a while since I've watched it, so I'm not quite caught up in memory. So, this is going to be a little bit interesting. But, so I think by the time this premiered, which was early June, you were just in the middle of your binge with The Boys, if I remember. I think you had started season 2.
Yes. Well, yeah, so I started, and it was like, it must have been like 2 weeks before season 3 came out, and I had no idea there even was a season 3 coming out. I was just like, oh, Marvel keeps saying I should watch The Boys, so I'll get around to it. And then you were like, dude, are you excited for season 3? And I'm like, what? That's probably like perfect timing. So, yeah, I started really late, but man, like, one of the best shows out there. One of the best shows I've seen.
Yeah, literally
I love it.
In the recent memory, it's definitely one of the best shows that I've, I actually like am willing to binge. Like usually when it comes to shows like on streaming services or whatnot, or even just the DVDs and Blu-rays I own, I don't like binging TV shows. So
yeah, me neither.
This was a weird case where it was just like even before season 3 came out, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch season 1 and 2 again just so I am all caught up and don't really need to watch recaps on YouTube. And I did just that. I did watch both seasons back to back just to get myself ready, and then right as the beginning of the first episode, I was just like, I can't wait. So
yeah. Well, one thing real quick I wanted to mention about The Boys too is that we're nerds, and it's like there's so many superhero TV shows that we could watch, and there's a lot of really great ones, and there's also a lot of stinkers. So it's like to have a TV show that's really that captivating in 2022 and feel super fresh in the superhero genre, particularly when fatigue is setting in, which we have talked about in a past episode. You guys can check out. But yeah, I think it's really refreshing to see that a show can still do that with care within the writing.
Yeah.
So yeah, The Boys is just top tier comic book, but also just a great television show. So I'd recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, you mentioned that, and I was just thinking about how much still, even with season 3, how quality it is, how great it still is years, because the show originally premiered in 2019, and usually when
Yeah.
it comes to shows like this, like maybe the later seasons aren't like get a little hokey or kind of played out and predictable. But The Boys, like the thing I always admire about The Boys is that it always leaves you guessing on what's going to happen next with all of its characters. It doesn't matter if it's the boys themselves or the seven, some minor characters that they might introduce part way through and whatnot. Like there's always something that's going to happen and you never know what it's going to be. So I can applaud them for that. But
Yeah, particularly with season 3, which we'll talk about in a bit
yeah,
once we get to that episode. But this season definitely, like Marvel said, it's like it just keeps you guessing, and they haven't gotten stale on that.
yeah, absolutely, for sure. Okay, so episode 1,
I think that would be Payback, I believe.
Payback. I do have an episode list just to keep track of,
Okay.
trying to remember stuff. And yeah, so this is 1 year after the whole Stormfront Nazi controversy, and I'm trying to think of what happens in the actual episode itself. Like I don't know if it's this one or the next one, which gets like Butcher gets the temp V. I think it's the first episode.
I feel like, yeah. Well, oh, jeez. It's weird. It's weird. We're trying to remember because the season was fairly recent, but it's like there's a lot to take in with The Boys. Well, regardless, it's in the first 2 episodes, but you're probably right. I think it's in the first episode.
You know what? I think it's actually the first one because he has that conversation with Homelander in his apartment.
Yeah.
Which is probably one of my favorite parts about the first episode. Like one of my favorite scenes of the season in general is just seeing them kind of not really. They're not fighting. They're more or less just having just not a normal conversation, but just like something that doesn't lead to them punching the shit out of each other and using their powers.
Right.
We'll get that later for sure, but like,
yeah.
I think the biggest scene or the scene that I remember the most is right at the first 10 minutes of the episode. You probably know what I'm talking about.
What is it? Is it with
It's
I don't know. Refresh my memory.
It's with the superhero. I forget I think his name was Termite. He was able to shrink himself down.
Yeah, and it was one of those scenes where every guy that saw that scene cringed because you could feel the pain. Yeah, that scene is hilarious, but also terrifying every time I see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a scene in the show that was like the most unexpected thing. I really didn't see it happening, and then I thought that something was happening to him where he was going to die or something. I don't know. I have no idea. But then he sneezes, and I'm like, oh my God, no.
Yeah.
So that was like a good icebreaker to set the season up, I guess you could say.
I guess so, yeah. Like it was just something to kind of, get you back into that mindset about The Boys being a really fucked up show. This is a show that within the first episode of the first season, the main character's girlfriend gets blown to bits just by a superpowered speedster running right through her. So, yeah, I remember watching that and I was just in pure shock after it happened. I was just like, how do they get away with this? It's just amazing to me. And also it was funny looking at it afterwards because it's a practical set, or at least like in some shots it is. Like when he's inserting himself, you could say that was actually a practical model they built. So
yeah, I think it's a testament to The Boys that it's never a safe show. You never know what's actually going to happen or how gruesome it's going to be.
Oh yeah,
within the matter of like the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
So
yeah, especially when a guy's lower half just gets completely it's just destroyed. Yeah,
that probably for me though is that and the Homelander and Butcher meet up are kind of like the two most memorable parts of it for me.
I would say the ending too, because in
Yeah.
the ending is when is when Huey realizes that his boss is the soup that explodes people's heads.
Yes. And that was a huge. I mean, obviously, we saw it in the end of season 2, but to see that. To see Huey's reaction was really, really great.
It was also it was heartbreaking too, because you think like Huey's, he's on the right path now. He's not with Butcher anymore, or at least not to the extent he was before, because they're all
Right.
working at the bureau together. So
Right.
he's more like, of course, he's at a higher position than them, whatnot. He's not getting his hands dirty, which he enjoys the fact. And then just come to realize that your boss is that soup in particular, like, is just crushing. And it comes to the
Yeah.
realization that we can't really do that, like we can't do this by any normal means. So
Right.
but yeah, I think like when it comes to the boss character, which I can't remember her name for the life of me, but
Oh yeah, I don't know.
it gets to an issue later on where it's just like they kind of forget about certain plot lines as they keep going. Like with her, it's very apparent that they just drop it completely. Like you get glimpses of her like in later episodes, but they don't really like get back to that at all. Like it's all just focusing on Soldier Boy and that whole thing. So
Yeah.
I think for a first episode though, it is a really good start.
Yeah, I agree.
And the episode right after it is all about Homelander on his supposed birthday, and
Oh right.
yeah, this was probably it had one of my favorite endings out of the whole season, because he basically just loses it in front of everyone, and it's not the way that you thought it would be at first. Because
Right.
if you remember from season 2, he has that kind of daydream of him murdering a whole crowd of people with his laser vision.
Right.
So,
And obviously, this whole thing became a meme afterwards.
it did.
No, I am better.
I am better.
It is the best thing ever. I love that thing so much. And yeah, and I think it was a ballsy move that the writers did, because it's like it really changes the whole vibe and atmosphere of the show for any episodes after that, because it's like it almost feels like nothing is completely safe anymore. You don't know what the hell is going to happen, because Homelander is being watched like seriously heavily by the higher ups at Vought, and it just feels like the walls are kind of closing in slowly and slowly, and especially like later on when Soldier Boy gets in. But just in this episode, it's like, did he really just do that? And what does this mean for the soups? That's kind of how I felt when I first saw it.
Yeah, I was. I was in a state of shock, because that happens, and it's like you said, it's a point of uncertainty now. What's going to happen next? Like if he is going to, literally go nuts and just start murdering anybody that gets in his way, like within the snap of his fingers and whatnot. Like you don't know that, and like the whole season, I think, does a really good job of kind of keeping you on your toes, especially in the next episode when when Starlight confronts him about the Flight 37 video, and he's just like, do it, I don't care. So,
I know.
like, that's great. The only other scene I can remember, or that comes to mind anyway, is the girl trying to jump off the building, and him just being like, do it. And like right after terrible. Stormfront dies, he's just like, I'm not asking anymore. Jump.
I'm telling you. Jump, yeah.
It's fucking dark.
I know. It's like, dude, this guy is a menace. He is one of the best villains of like the past maybe 2 or 3 years in TV shows. Like, oh, he's so good, and his conversations with people, especially that one, it makes you feel super uncomfortable
Hmm.
because you feel for the person he's talking to. He's literally telling this person to basically, like, he's literally saying, "Go kill yourself."
Yeah.
When he went up there to save him or her, and initially you're like, "Oh, okay, this is going to end fine," because Homelander's like, "Okay, come on, you don't want to do, you don't want to do this. Come on, don't jump." And he's like real sarcastic about it,
Yeah, he's like
and then he
he's
just
putting
takes a
on.
complete 180.
Yeah, he's putting on the act, and then as soon as he sees the news about Stormfront, like the facade just goes away, and we're
Yeah,
back to him just being himself, and
yep.
it's yeah, it's pretty gruesome. But,
It's very dark.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
but yeah, very.
I remember when that episode premiered, and all the like everybody on Twitter was like, "Oh, mate, they made a reference to uh, Superman, All Star Superman." It was just like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna save the girl on top of the, trying to commit suicide." He's like, "Nope, that's not what's happening at all." So, yeah, great second episode, and
Yeah.
the next episode is it's like it's two plot lines where one of them revolves around uh, uh, basically a reality show, kind of like I'm trying to think of something to compare it to. Like I guess like America's Got Talent or something like that, where it's just like them trying to
Yeah.
recruit a new member to the Seven. But also, I
Yeah.
think this is the one where we learn a little bit about Mallory in the past with the superhero team Payback, which is basically the Seven before the
Oh
Seven.
yes.
This is
Yeah, and
probably one of the weaker episodes, I think.
I was just gonna say, it kind of harkens back to like one of the issues I had with season two, which was, I feel like when they had the plot line of them making the movies and stuff, and the Supes being in Hollywood and all that, it kind of just, I don't know, it wasn't that interesting to me. I I wasn't that invested in that,
Yeah,
and they kind of did the same thing here, and it gives you like a couple characters that you really don't care about, and they try to make it interesting by the one guy having a past with Starlight and how they went to school together and all that stuff, or camp or whatever they did. Um,
mm.
and it just, I was never invested in like, spoilers if you haven't seen it. He gets killed off in, I think, the next episode.
Either
Um,
the next
but
episode or like the very end of or the very end of this one. But like, yeah,
yeah,
it's fucking
and it's like
gruesome.
I don't. Yeah, but it's like when he gets killed off, I'm like, that sucks. But like, he wasn't somebody I really cared about too much, and he was kind of like, I didn't like him because he seems like that douchey character that's trying to step on the feet of the guy who actually should get the girl, which is Huey. And it's like, yeah, like, all right, he died. Let's move on. Okay, like I don't know that whole plot line. I agree. It's probably it might be the weakest episode to me, but yeah. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I just like most of the episode like is just besides the whole reality show angle, like it's them talking to Mallory about events that have happened years ago, and it kind of sets up how the rest of the season goes down, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's fine. Like it's not like the worst episode of the series by far, but it is weak in
No.
comparison to some of the other ones we'll get later on. But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, the ending,
Overall,
like,
it's an okay one.
yeah. If there's one thing about this season which I really like is just the endings to each episode, because like
Yeah,
each
they are
one
really good.
really like keeps you coming, like it wants to keep you coming back for more. Like I think this one is when Homelander is like, oh, everybody in the world meet my new lover Starlight, and they do that
Oh, that
whole
was
thing.
so weird.
That was
It
weird,
was. It's
yeah.
great. It's funny, but it's like it's so strange to see that.
Also, it's another
But
thing where it kind of just goes nowhere at the same time.
yeah, it just kind of like stops. Like like it's kind of like that whole situation with the head exploder.
Yeah.
It's like they kind of put it to the backseat, even though it should be like people should be talking about it a lot. Um,
Yeah, like you
but it's
feel
kind
like
of like
you feel like there would be more of a precedent for it, but they just kind of
yeah, and
they don't really go nowhere with it.
I feel like too like Homelander and even I forget what the like the CEO of Vaught's name is. It's not coming to my head, but so it's like you'd think they'd be kind of on Starlight's ass for not really being at Vought Tower that often and kind of hanging with Huey and
Mm.
being with the boys, but it's like, and she's in a supposed relationship with Homelander, so it's like you really think there'd be some like steady watching there, and there's not. It's just kind of like, yeah, this is happening, but it's not that important until we want to make it important, and then it kind of goes away again.
I think this
So there's
is
a
the
couple plot
episode.
lines.
Yeah,
Like
I think this is the episode too, which they kind of push Stan Edgar like out of the
that's it,
series.
Stan Edgar.
Yeah, um, which I love Stan Edgar. He's one of my favorite characters in the whole show. Um,
Yeah,
uh, and it was really interesting. It was like, oh, they're putting him to the wayside, and Homelander is going to be the head honcho at
right.
Vought, which is a terrifying thought.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because it's like he's not on a leash anymore. Like he's in control now, so he can basically just do whatever the fuck he wants. So
I mean, yeah, really, if he wanted to, he could kill Stan Edgar and just be like the king of Vought or whatever.
yeah,
Like he could do whatever he wants, but yeah. So I don't know. Episode 3 was. Or wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah, it is episode 3.
episode 3. Yeah,
Episode 3 was. It had some good moments. Like I enjoy watching the stuff from the past and seeing kind of like what happened to Soldier Boy. Even though that doesn't really come up necessarily until the next episode, I think, like too much. But you get a glimpse of the team before the 7, and that's cool. I like it. But
yeah.
I feel like a lot of what they did in episode 3 is just kind of like setting up what's going to happen later in the season, but they kind of do it a little bit half-assed, like just a little bit. Like it's still a good episode. It's okay, but I feel like there could have been a little bit more substance there, like something more memorable. I mean, but that's just me.
It feels like that kind of like it has the same issue that season 2 does, where you're right. It's they kind of just set things up. I think season 3 does it a little bit better than season 2, but like it's not
Yeah,
by
it
much
does.
really. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, like, but yeah, it's like as far as like plot lines go, like I do enjoy like the some of the ones they did, like the whole home light and and the head.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it was a fun thing to come back to, but at the same time, it's just like they don't really do anything. Occasionally, they'll
Right.
do some scenes dedicated to that, but like it
Yeah.
just you're right. It just doesn't really go anywhere until next season, of course. But like you know,
Right.
um, all right. Episode 4. This is when they go to Russia for the whole episode, and I like this one. I think it's
Yeah.
it's an okay. I think it's an okay episode. Has a lot more going on than the last one, for sure. Like besides the ending with them trying to them discovering Soldier Boy. There's also that really good action scene with Kamiko and some other things that
Yes.
happen, which is cool.
Aren't all the action scenes with Kamiko great? I just got to say that. Like
Absolutely, yeah.
she is phenomenal. Um, yeah, I wish I think she deserves some more love. I think her and Frenchie need some more love. Just saying that whole thing.
Oh,
But yeah,
yes.
that's a
Yeah.
great scene.
Talking about plot lines, man, what they did to Kamiko this season was, I mean, it was interesting, kind of like her losing her powers. Like I
Yeah,
was not expecting that.
me neither. And I genuinely thought that she was going to stay that way. Like I didn't think that they were going to give her powers back. At least maybe not that soon. But it was like it was cool because you see this kind of trade-off that happens sometimes in comic book movies in media. It's like they have this trade-off for either do they keep doing what they're doing or do they have something bigger to their life, like her and Frenchie. And she ends up deciding to take her powers back, but Frenchie, I guess, is cool with it. So, but it was. I enjoy that because it kind of makes her. It makes her feel a little bit more human, even though she's already feels extremely human. She might be like one of the most human characters in the damn show.
Yeah.
I love Kamiko so much.
Yeah,
but that
me
just
too.
even it adds an extra layer to her already great character for me. So I enjoy that, and it was interesting how they did it, like the reverse temp V thing. But
It's also one of those things too, where it was interesting to see, but you think they would have like put that more on the forefront with her being a main character.
yeah, that's the thing. I feel like, well, with Kamiko too, it's like in season one, she got some spotlight, but it's like I don't feel like she's ever had like just one episode for like her to shine completely through. Like that's
I
how
guess
I
so.
feel.
Yeah.
I would like to see an episode really like focusing on her character.
I feel like the
Just
closest we've gotten was back in season 2 with them discovering her brother. But
yeah, that's true.
even that is just kind of like it's finished up by the next episode. So,
Yeah,
um, uh, but
I
besides,
guess there's just so much there. There's so many characters to explain and expand on. Um, so it's
yeah,
like if they were to do it, I'd rather them not do it at all than do it really badly. Which I don't really think they can do anything too badly because I think they genuinely care about the show and the
mhm,
writing.
yeah,
But I just would rather them not half-ass it and like give us a full-fledged, like really fleshed out episode of her rather than just not. So if we're not going to get it and still have great Kamiko character moments, then I'd rather have that than a mediocre episode.
yeah. Like it's so strange because in the Hero Gasm episode, they spend a good chunk of time with him and or her and Frenchie getting kidnapped, and then at the very end, just being like,
All right.
"Well, I guess this is how life is now." So, which I mean,
Yeah.
it did feel really tacked on in the greater part of the episode, but it's just like you think with Kamiko losing her powers and with her being a member of the boys that just would have been more of a more important plot line. But
Right.
um, but yeah, episode 4 was really good. The ending, of course, is fantastic. Um,
Yeah.
with them discovering Soldier Boy, played by Jensen Ackles, the best Red Hood.
Yes. Yes.
I never understood people like who were like, "Oh, my favorite Red Hood is from Arkham Knight." And I'm like, "What the?"
or the one that kills me is my favorite Red Hood is Jason O'Young. Or I'm sorry, Stephen O'Young. I said Jason because I'm thinking Jason Todd. Stephen O'Young.
Stephen
Um,
Young.
yeah, like okay, like Gotham Knight people. I'm excited as the game. I'm just as excited, but like they are hyping it up seriously a lot, and it's like, yeah, Stephen O'Young is like the best Red Hood ever. I'm like, I think it's Jensen Ackles. I think he gave the best performance ever. Like, you can't tell me otherwise.
I really liked Stephen Young. Like I really liked him in the Insomniac Spider-Man games.
Oh, I think he's
But
great in that game.
like he just
He's
feels
weird as Red Hood.
miscast.
I agree.
So
I like he feels strange as Red Hood, but we'll see. We'll see. We have a little over a month,
I guess so.
so
Yeah.
we'll see.
We'll
But
see.
no, I mean, I think objectively, at least for us nerds, I think Jensen Ackles is the best Red Hood.
Oh yeah, definitive Red Hood, I would say.
Yeah. Well,
So.
when I listen for Red Hood, I hear his voice. Like if I'm reading a comic book, I hear Jensen Ackles.
Oh yeah, me too.
So, but no, he was like the coolest addition to this show they could have made, and obviously in a couple more episodes we find some more stuff out about Soldier Boy and Homelander that is really cool that you tell me if you felt this way too. Is like maybe there was some indication in your own mind that like maybe he's his dad, but it doesn't really cross it like too seriously. You're not like, oh, they probably wouldn't do that, and then they freaking do it. Because like I had never read the comics, like coming into this show,
Yeah.
so I didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah. But yeah, Soldier Boy is the best character of the entire season. You know, he has all the
Yeah,
best scenes, all the best meme-worthy scenes, of course. Um,
the one where he shoots the guy is like perfect. Where they do that on TikTok, they just like put something stupid like. I don't know. I'll make one up right now. When you think Stephen O. Young is the best Red Hood and he just shoots the church guy.
my favorite one is when Homelander picks up the phone and is like, "Is this really you? I beat my meat into a cup." It's like,
Yeah. That one is so funny.
I love that. Um,
I forgot about that one.
Also,
Oh
too,
my God.
like I love the song that they didn't write it, but he obviously sang it.
Yeah, the Blondie song.
The Blondie song, yeah.
Fab Five Freddy told me everybody's fly. That became so huge.
It did.
It was
Like,
crazy. It was
so-
insane.
yeah, it was weird how big it had gotten. Like, to the point
I
where
know.
people are like remixing his vocals into other songs. Like, I shared a couple with Swifty over on TikTok. Like, there was one where they put his vocals into a Weekend
Oh
song.
my God.
And it didn't sound too bad either.
No,
it wasn't
it didn't.
it wasn't
I know what
it
you're
wasn't
talking
great,
about.
but it wasn't too bad.
It's tolerable.
Yeah.
I think I was so surprised because it's like when I saw that episode, I'm like, oh, this is really cool and it's kind of funny and it's hip and I dig it, but it's like TikTok worthy, really? And it's like so funny because it just shows that the most random, stupid shit will get famous on TikTok for no reason, and you know, rightfully so. That was pretty interesting because you wouldn't expect Soldier Boy just seeing a couple lines from a Blondie song to get that big.
Yeah.
Like within a few days, everyone was using it, and especially Giga Chad TikTok. Oh my God, it went crazy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so that's a great moment.
Yeah. So I guess we should move on to episode 5, which is
Yes.
Is when they basically spend the whole episode looking for Soldier Boy.
Yeah.
This
is where they go to the house of the woman, right, to go talk to her. That's
Yeah.
this episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one was at the end they basically make a deal with Soldier Boy and it's just like, we'll give you
Right.
your team to murder, you know, if you help us out with the whole, you know, Homelander thing. So at the end,
Right.
he does literally go and murder Crimson Countess, and
Yeah.
it's pretty brutal what happens
Yeah.
to her.
It is. And you also see, because of Huey getting involved with this again, his relationship with Starlight declining, which is, again, like a nice character moment for both of them, I think. And
Yeah.
another thing, it's like that's a more kind of another uncertainty thing that they bring to the show. It's like, oh, are they going to survive in this relationship? Like, it didn't look that way, and it's still a little weird, I think.
Yeah.
Especially when the Temp B gets involved with Huey, it's like,
Yeah, it's, like, especially when it comes to the later episodes, like Herogasm really goes into it, and then by the end it's just like, I forgive you. Like, what happened? It's like, what? But
I know.
yeah, this episode was kind of mid, honestly. As far as
Yeah.
it was one of, it was one of the weaker episodes, I'd say.
yeah.
Um,
Barbary Coast and this one are, I think, the two weakest ones of the season.
yeah, like, I think for most of it, it was just kind of like, meh. It only got really good until the end, where it was just like,
Yeah.
when the paradigm shift happened, and it was like, oh, we're gonna go
Right.
murder Payback and hopefully murder Homelander along the way.
Yeah.
it did lead to one of my favorite duos of the whole season, which was Annie and MM.
Yep,
I did
Mommy
really,
Milkers.
yeah, Mommy Milkers. That's right. Forgot
It
about
is a
that.
good duo, actually,
Jesus.
and I was I was surprised at how much I liked them together. Um, I really enjoyed it. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
hope
did
they
too.
kind of do maybe more of that in season 4, hopefully, because I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
Annie and Mother's Milk are a great duo. I think Annie and Kamiko are great too.
yeah, they are. They definitely grow closer in this season for sure as well.
Yeah, but
But
yeah, for the most part,
yeah,
meh. It was
yeah,
it's fine.
mid.
So
But now we're getting on to
the best episode of the whole season.
yeah, yeah. This thing was insane, and you know what was great too was the build up to it. Um, like all of the cast members were posting stuff about Herogasm, and we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know how deep into the actual Herogasm they were going to go into it, and they they went all in. They went all in.
The funny thing was is that because we watched this together over Discord,
Yeah, we did.
um,
That's right.
and I remember all the interviews and stuff was like, well, just get ready for Herogasm because it's gonna be nuts. And then as soon as they actually get to the Herogasm, I'm like, this is pretty tame for like the boys, all things considered. And then the end of the episode happens, and you're just like, oh, this is
Right.
what they were talking about.
Yep.
Oh man,
That was the most badass shit I've seen in a long time.
it's the best fight in the best fight scene in the entire show.
Yeah. Because like you look at the last fight of the final episode compared to this, and even that final fight does not match up to this fight.
Oh no,
I think too the anticipation for this fight was so much bigger as well. It was like everyone was expecting stuff, and I think it matched the expectations for me anyway. It was so fun to watch.
oh yeah, no,
And
it was just the fight was so much fun. Like just even watching it together in a call, it was just like,
yeah, that
man,
was
what they're
fun.
gonna do next? Are they gonna do heat vision? Yeah, they do heat vision.
Oh my god, I remember that. And like there was a couple parts where like we were just sitting there in silence and we're just like, there's no fucking way that this is happening right now. Like it was so awesome. And I hope we get more moments like that in season 4. I'm sure we will.
Yeah,
Because I'm hoping season 4 puts everything on the table. It seems like it, but we'll see.
yeah,
But yeah, this is, like you said, this is the best episode of the entire season, and up there with the best episodes in the entire series. It's so good.
yeah. Even just without the fight withstanding, like there was a lot of really great character moments throughout it. With like with Starlight and Frenchie and Kamiko, who have their own kind of plot lines throughout. The
Yeah.
realization of Vought learning that Soldier Boy's alive, and how increasingly nervous they became. Um, and I mean, there was the trio of Butcher, Huey, and Soldier Boy was great too. So the whole episode is
Yeah.
just fantastic.
Yeah.
So next is admittedly it's a good episode. This is the one where they hunt down I forget the soup's name, but he has the ability to like entrance you into like a
Yes.
dream state.
Yeah. I like this episode because of the stuff with Butcher.
Mhm.
I think that was the strongest part of the episode.
Oh yeah, I feel the same way too.
I love seeing. Like, this is the first time they really give us a deep dive into Butcher's mind, especially because over the course of the show we've heard about his brother, and more recently how he kind of views Huey as his brother and doesn't want him to take the Temp B and
Yeah, his canary.
all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And I thought that was really powerful stuff because Butcher's one of those characters where we love Butcher, but he's such a dick, and super controlling. But we get a sense of why that is, and it's really tragic. The actual story behind what happened to Butcher and his family. So that was a great part of the episode. But the rest of it, it's like I'm trying to remember how they actually catch it. I think Huey teleports to him, and he like makes him a deal or something that he'll let him go or something. And I don't remember if he just said that because he was going to actually let him go or he was lying. I don't know.
He probably would have, if
knowing Huey.
If he brought Butcher back to who he was, he probably just would have let him go. But I mean, that didn't work out the way what did. So
no.
This had another really good ending too, where we come to find out that Homelander's his kid, which I wasn't expecting at all.
No, yeah, it was very surprising to me. Like I said, it was like I kind of had an inkling in my mind that something was happening between them two. Like there was something that was maybe not they were relatives, but I don't know, that something was connecting them. And I was super surprised to see that it was actually his kid. Super cool twist.
Yeah.
Because now it adds even more stakes, and the fact that he had a grandkid.
Yeah.
So
there was definitely more uncertainty at that point for me, where it's just like, what happens next? Like, are they gonna team up? Are they gonna kill each other? Like, it's hard to tell. And then, I mean, we find out next episode, and it's actually kind of disappointing, but we'll get to that. But yeah, it's fine. Like the episode's okay. Like a lot of it was the best parts, of course, are the whole Butcher backstory stuff. I did also like what they did with Noir too. Kind of giving some insight into how his process of things, and so. Yeah, I think the weakest part of the episode was actually Huey.
Yeah. He really didn't do much.
No. Also,
it wasn't very interesting.
Also, just him bouncing off of, Soldier Boy. Like, it didn't really work for me. Just their whole dynamic without Butcher, it didn't feel right. So.
It has to be the three of them, in order for it to work. It doesn't really match up well with just Huey.
Soldier Boy had some really good moments too, like when he shoots the priest, and that was funny. And when Huey's like, "Man, you need to lay off the weight," and he's like, "How about you just gargle my ball sack?"
Yeah, that part is so good.
I fucking love Soldier Boy. he's just great.
Do you think he's gonna? Well, maybe let's go more in depth in this question afterwards. I was just gonna ask if you think he's gonna be involved in season 4 at all, but maybe we'll talk about that after we get done.
We'll get to it.
Last episode.
So next episode is the whole big finale at Vought Tower, and this was really disappointing as far as a finale.
Yeah. Well, I do want to say this too. It's killing Black Noir was the worst thing they could have done. I love Black Noir, man.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed when they killed him, especially because we just started to get him kind of coming out of his shell as his own character, not surrounded by the other members of the Seven. It's it was unfortunate to me.
It was, yeah. I felt the exact same way. It was just man, you're really gonna do Noir like this? And then also too, just real I saw an interview afterwards. It's like, oh yeah, Noir will come back, but it won't be the same Noir as last time. I'm just why?
Man, it's not Noir, man.
It's not Noir. It's upsetting.
It's It's like casting Homelander as like, you know that guy on TikTok who smells the fragrances who looks like Homelander. You know what I'm talking about?
Maybe.
I'll have this. I'll send it to you afterwards.
Yeah.
But it's like if they casted him as Homelander because we're gonna kill off Tony Starr's version, but we're gonna bring this other guy in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, no, it's not Homelander. Like that's how much I like Black Noir. I thought his character really became his own in this season, and it was unfortunate to see him done like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Noir was always just he was always the wild card character, which I liked, which was like they could use him at any time, and whether it be for like comedic purposes or him just murdering everybody, like it worked out really well. But yeah, just to see what they did to him was just upsetting. So hopefully they backpedal and say like, oh, he's not really dead, like he's just healing, because we know that he's capable of that.
Right.
Just going off of the first scene of season 2, which is him murdering all the terrorists and stuff. So.
Right.
So.
I guess we'll see in next spring.
Yeah. Next spring, seriously?
Wait, is that? I don't know. I figured that was going to come out.
Well, I guess they're filming right now, so they could put it out like next year or something like that. Possible. I mean, the show's at its most popular now, so they can't really go like, oh, we're gonna wait like until 2024 for season 4. I was like, no, I can't do that.
Right. And while we're on the subject, I'm gonna read up on this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we get it by next year. There's no official release date especially because they're adding new characters in every week it seems. But we'll see. I think, at the latest, hopefully it'll be like the end of next year. But we'll see.
Yeah. One character I forgot to talk about throughout the season was A-Train. A-Train has a really good arc of this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know what? I think that because season 1 really had an emphasis on A-Train. He's kind of the reason everything happened.
He's basically the main villain of season 1.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
he is.
Because even Homelander, when you think back on Homelander in season 1, there's not really much of him. So
no,
which was smart. Like they don't want to blow their load like in the first season.
Right.
So A-Train kind of took center stage, and it really worked out, which is why season 1 is still goated.
I don't think there can ever be a better season. There's a charm to that first season that I don't see them ever getting again, just because. I don't know. It's hard to do that.
Yeah, they're not. I don't think they're going to be able to replicate that. So.
No.
But yeah, he gets a really nice kind of sort of redemption arc, which I think like it was interesting. It got really interesting by season 6, and then the next episode after it, like the end of it was kind of ruined for me because it was just like, oh cool, A-Train's alive, but at the same time it's just like, oh, we're gonna give you the racist superhero, I forget his name, we're going to give you his heart and you're going to be able to run again. It was just like, okay, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right.
Speaking of glow-ups too, the Deep got a massive shine this season. And it was so weird because he doesn't really do anything in the season itself, but so many people just on social media were just like, oh yeah, the Deep, the GOAT. Like, it's just like,
yeah, I know.
The most powerful.
And then all that stuff. Started coming out with like the memes and stuff, and they're just like, hey man, that's not cool. That meme. Maybe that was from season 2, I don't remember. But
it could have been either or.
Yeah, just the Deep was I'll never forget for as long as I live now. I'll be on my deathbed thinking about him screwing an octopus,
Yeah, yeah.
which really was. They build up to it the whole damn episode, and it finally happens. And you're like, oh my god, he actually did it, and they're showing it.
Even just him eating the octopus too was like, it was
Oh,
just
that was
fucked up.
horrible. It was so harsh. I was like,
Home-
no. I was like, no, don't make
Homelander's
him do it, you
yeah, it's
sick
just
bastard.
Homelander's just sitting there, is like fucking eat Timothy. I was just like, fuck.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did. He said the name too.
Yeah.
Oh, the worst part of that whole scene was just watching the ink squirt into his mouth
Oh.
and it all like come down his cheeks. I was like, oh god, this is horrible.
um, I'm gonna say though, because we're on the topic of the Deep, the wife that they gave him was the worst character in the whole season. I hated
Oh, I
her so
hated
much.
her.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not like her one bit.
No. And it's like she just has this, I don't know, just this annoying thing surrounding her. I don't know.
Yeah. It was
She has
yeah.
nothing going for her as a character.
Yeah. It was an interesting idea in season 2 because you're like, oh, maybe they could, like, give him a redemption arc or whatever. And then by season 3, it's just like, no, he's still an asshole. And she's not, like,
Yeah.
she's just as bad as him. So,
Yeah.
yeah, like every time she was on screen, I was just like, put a bullet in her right now. Like, just could somebody, Homelander, can you, like, laser her face off or something?
Yeah.
So.
I hated her.
Yeah. But yeah, the whole final confrontation, like, it was just upsetting. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't think the fight would be that much better than the Herogasm one. Like, that one is just so hard to top, but it was just kind of upsetting what happened in the long run. So.
Well, we might have to backtrack here for a second because we forgot to talk about the sex scene between Maeve and Butcher.
Oh yeah, another one of my favorite duos from the season.
Yes. Like, they were great together, and unfortunately, it wasn't. They didn't have a lot of time together on screen. But when they were on screen together, it was great. And that was one of the most unexpected things in that episode. I was like, "What?" She came to his house, or maybe it was the other way around. I don't know, but. Either way, they ended up screwing each other, throwing each other on the walls.
I had a feeling it was gonna happen. Like, it was just like, so they're just sitting here drinking together. It was like, oh, what's gonna happen next? Yep, they're gonna.
It's like the most extreme version of BDSM. It seems like it's like them just basically wrestling each other.
Yeah,
it was kind of funny.
It was basically a toned down version of the sex scene that happened in season 2 with Stormfront and Homelander. Like, it wasn't as.
Oh my god! Yeah. Now thanks for jogging my memory. That sex scene is just unmatched with the amount of like insanity involved.
I will never forget the line, "Don't be a pussy, laser my fucking tits."
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I love Maeve and Butcher together. They were great. They were just as good as Annie and Mother's Milk. Mommy Milkers.
Mommy Milkers.
If you want context, watch the last voice video we made.
Yeah, there's a whole explanation that I give for the Mommy Milkers dilemma.
But yeah, like the whole last episode, like, it was just like a lot of underwhelming moments, like just kind of strung together, and even the ending too, which, like, it was a neat idea and kind of give us a glimpse of how long the show is gonna last. But also too, it's just like, it's just upsetting what they did to a lot of the characters. Like, some of them got the better end of the deal, like Mother's Milk and Kimiko kind of getting her powers back, and Mother's Milk, kind of, fulfilling his plot line, because it is revealed that he and Soldier Boy have some sort of prior entanglement, we should say. So we didn't really talk about that, but it just like
No.
they
But
don't really like talk about it either. Like there's a couple scenes where
they
it's just
don't.
like, yeah, this happened. Like,
Yeah.
so
Well, for anybody that didn't see it, basically, Soldier Boy killed his dad.
yeah, either his dad or his grandfather.
Or his grandfather, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's basically why, for all this time, he's had this hatred for Soldier Boy, and when he finds out he's alive, he just wants to go kill him. And I'll never forget in Herogasm, he wants to shoot Soldier Boy, I think, and they're like, "That's not going to work." Or no, it might have been in the one where either Huey or Butcher knocks him out or something.
Yeah, I think that was episode 5, 6.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
that seems about right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he just has this extreme hatred for him, and never really goes anywhere again. That's another thing that doesn't go too far, because I mean, they kind of, take control of Soldier Boy and put him back into the ice box, if you will.
Yeah, like it's there, but it's like it's not really like at a forefront either, which is strange.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they finally beat Soldier Boy. Kimiko gets her powers back with Compound V. It's revealed in either this episode or the last one. I think it's this one where Temp V will kill you after a certain amount of doses.
Yeah.
So.
And we find out that Butcher only has like a year left to live or something.
Yeah, at the very end, after, the whole, the final kind of ending reel, they reveal that Butcher has about a year or so to live, which makes me think that they're probably going to go another 2 seasons worth.
Probably.
So.
Yeah, because I mean, I can't imagine the show without Butcher.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Also, too, I feel, it's predictable, but I mean, you kind of got to end it with the whole scorched earth, scenario like they've been talking about all season. So.
Yeah.
I think the biggest offense for me is the fact that they brought Ryan back, because he was in the first few episodes, and then they kind of just drop him. It's just like, oh, Butcher, I hate you, and then it's just the last episode. It's like, I'm back.
It's kind of like so stupid too, that like his whole hatred for Butcher thing. It's like, all right, you're gonna go with this guy who is a villainous, like, psychopath.
Yeah.
All because Butcher said one mean thing and then ended up regretting it afterwards. It's like, it's really stupid. And then he completely turns evil and like goes with his father. It's like, really, it's like, I don't know. If he would have had some kind of like build up to it, maybe it would have worked better. But it's like, it just happened in an instant, because he was like, that whole episode before that happened, he's like, oh, Butcher, hi, how are you? Give me a hug, like that whole kind of thing.
Yeah, and then at the end, it's just like, I hate you with all my
Yeah, I'm
soul.
just like, okay, that took a massive turn.
I mean, it's sad in the last episode because you can tell like Ryan really does care for Butcher and his dad, so it's like,
yeah.
So I mean, the choice of him kind of sticking with Homelander, I didn't mind it. Like it felt kind of predictable to me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I didn't see like there being a huge future with Butcher and Ryan necessarily. I mean, especially because, I mean, he wasn't even being taken care of by Butcher anyway.
Yeah.
So there's something bound to happen.
Also, too, like he's probably gonna get a redemption arc next season where it's just like
Probably.
he's gonna come to the realization where it's just like, oh, I should be with Butcher instead of my own father, who's an asshole. So,
Right.
Um,
Right.
Yeah, it's just stuff like that, which was like you could see coming a mile away, and it's like they got to wrap up the season somehow and set things up for the next. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that one was like whatever. Um, the one thing I was not expecting, however, was what they did with Queen Maeve, which I actually really liked. The whole self-sacrifice thing,
Hmm.
and learning that she was alive still was like it was
That
neat.
yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I think me as well as almost everybody was just like, oh, okay, she's dead now. Like,
yeah. I had that thought too. I was like, okay, like she's dead. I mean, that's sad because she was one of my favorite characters. And it's like,
yeah,
oh, she's
me
back
too.
now, or she's alive still. Okay.
Yeah. And I don't think we'll be seeing much of her any time ever again.
No,
Um,
I feel like when they really need her to come back, she might
yeah, maybe like the last season, I'm thinking.
yeah, but yeah, I don't expect her to show up for season 4 like as a major
No,
character. So,
no, not at all.
but yeah, she really she was one another. She was another character I felt like she didn't really get her. Like it was another thing that just kind of dropped because it's
Right,
either episode 4 or 5 where they lock her up, and then it's like
right.
the very last episode we see her again. It's just like,
Yeah,
oh, this sucks.
yeah.
Especially because we probably said this in the last boys video, but she's never really gotten you know time to really shine as a character. So
No, and I would have loved it because like I'm in the same boat. Like she's one of my favorite characters in the show.
yeah,
Um, so and it's unfortunate. Like that's another thing that the last episode didn't do justice with. It's like they ended Maeve's like story for the most part without giving her like a proper episode to really show her true character.
yeah, yeah. We've gotten glimpses here and there, but you
Yeah, for
think with
sure.
this season because it's everybody against Homelander basically. You think
Right,
that would have factored in somehow, but no,
right.
they just didn't do that.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I guess we should just get into how we feel about the season in as a whole. I
yeah.
like it slightly more than season 2.
Me too.
But I think it still doesn't hold a candle to season 1. Like season 1 is literally
No,
perfect.
it is. I have an enjoyable time watching every episode, um, and it never gets boring at all.
No,
Um, and I don't think that's ever going to happen again with this show, because I feel like two things in shows after the first season sometimes get too complicated, and like now there's so many more characters, um, so I don't think we're going to get that. But first season, yeah, it's untouchable. It's so good.
mm,
Um, I'm in the same boat too. It's like for me, it would be 1, 3, 2 for my ranking of the seasons. 2 is um, undoubtedly the weakest one.
2 is good. 2 is
It
is
is
a good
good,
season. Um,
and I think every season in The Boys is good, but I think season 1 is like incredible.
yeah, damn near perfect, and
Yeah,
um, yeah, for all the mixed reaction that we've been kind of going about for season 3, there's something about season 3 I just enjoy a whole lot more about than season 2. So I
yeah,
mean, I
me
could
too.
probably go back to season 2 no problem, but it's just I
Yeah,
think
me
it's
too.
Stormfront that really
Mm,
is really hard for me to come back to.
yeah,
She's just such an asshole the whole
I
season.
know,
So,
I know.
um, but yeah, season 3 was really good. I can't wait for season 4. Um,
Me too.
like I mentioned, I just started filming within the last couple months, so it's
Yeah,
safe to assume that we'll probably get season 4 probably next year.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I think when I said spring, I was stretching a lot. I didn't think about it. How recently they actually did start filming.
I feel like I like
Probably the end of next year.
yeah, probably like late, probably late autumn, like early
Yeah,
winter, kind of.
probably around this time next year, maybe like October, November.
Yeah,
Um, but you know, we have a while to go, and I'm sure that they're going to be keeping us up to date
yeah,
on whatever goes on. They're always posting on their social medias, so. Another thing that's great about the show is like they're always keeping fans up to date with what's going on with the show. So it's never like waiting in the dark like a lot of these other things.
yeah. There's always something to look forward to. Like the Boys has a really fun like marketing campaign where it's just like
Oh,
they
it's
have
so fun.
they have a whole channel dedicated to like their version of like Fox News, and it's like it's actually really fun watching it. Um,
And like they treat the social media as like it's like the boys is a real thing,
yeah, like
which I love.
it also adds to the narrative too a little bit. Like
It does.
they like they make fun, winks and nods to the people who actually take the time to watch, all their YouTube stuff. Like it's just
Right.
these small little references in the show. And it's
Yeah.
like, man, it's really good that I actually paid attention to this. So
Yeah. Because it's all canon, which is super cool.
yeah, yeah, everything ties into each other. Nothing feels like just thrown in there. It's like
Right.
everything has a purpose. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, if we haven't mentioned it before, go watch the show. It's great.
Yeah, and go watch our episode talking about the first two seasons because that was a fun episode.
That was.
I enjoyed that one. This was a fun one too, though.
It was actually.
like
I didn't
I
think I didn't think we'd get as long as we did, but
no. Before we started recording, Marvel was like, "Yeah, this won't be that long of an episode," and I'm like, "Yeah, probably not." And then here we are.
an hour later.
Yeah. But it's a nice episode to fill in the gaps before we can get all four of us together. Whenever that may be, I don't know, but hopefully sooner than later.
Hopefully.
But I'm like counting down the days. I'm like, oh, AJ only has like less than a month left of his like extracurricular thing. So I'm like, all right, great. Now we'll be able to do episodes.
Also, like,
That's exciting.
even besides the podcast, I think we need to plan another Speaking Our Plays video. So,
Oh yeah, I
so,
would love to do that.
so,
Well,
um,
hopefully, like, I don't know. I think that a cool one, and obviously, if you guys haven't watched Speaking Nerd Plays video, you should go check it out. We had an interestingly fun time on Fortnite, to say the least. There's some pretty hilarious moments in there. But let us know what you guys would like to see us play.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm thinking, hopefully, I know AJ wouldn't be able to, but maybe you and I definitely could do like Injustice 2 or something. Maybe if
Yeah.
Alter would want to as well.
Yeah,
But it's nice to have all four of us, so we'll figure
Absolutely.
something out.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so until next time, I'm not sure what we're gonna do next episode. I mean, we'll probably figure it out by,
Yeah.
over the weekend or something like that. But like,
Yeah, for sure.
if there's some, big, event happening, we'll probably like talk about it. I know you said that New York Comic Con's happening soon, so maybe,
Yes, and I will be attending New York Comic Con.
nice. Maybe some news will come out of that. Hopefully.
Yeah, yeah, and well, I mean, definitely, I'll talk about it on the channel when the time comes. I think it's like 3 weeks from now. I want to say I'll be there.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
so that's exciting.
So, do you want to plug your stuff or let the people know what you're up to and as far as YouTube?
I don't have much going on right now. Like, news has been kind of scarce, especially like I really would like to get into more like other territories or other comic book media than Arkham and Gotham Knights. It's like, I mean, Gotham Knights is it's funner now because it's really coming up close, but still not too much to talk about. And it's like everything that there is to talk about, like 50 other people have already talked about within 2 hours of the news releasing. So it's like, there's no point.
Mhm.
So I think really I'm just going to wait for the game to come out and then talk about it and do some live streams and do some playthroughs. Hopefully, play with you guys. We'll for sure have to do that once. Hopefully, when you get a PS5,
Yeah.
that'll be, and me and Elter will have to post some videos on the Speaking Nerd podcast channel of like us playing through some of it, some like shit post highlights. Because I'm sure playing with Elter on Gotham Knights will be a shit show within itself.
Oh yeah.
Totally. So that'll make for a good video. But yeah, not too much right now. Just kind of waiting for some more interesting news to come out for whatever, and hopefully I get to it. What about you? What are you working on?
Well, as far as recently, as of September 9th, a whole lot of shit came out.
Yes.
I did a compilation of all my Arkham reviews. That was fun to do.
Yeah.
I got a comment actually. Somebody was like, "Man, why isn't this in like the thousands of views yet?" And I was just like, "I don't know, man."
Well, Marvel sent that video to me before it came out to kind of like check it out beforehand, and it's look. I will say, well, first off, they're great reviews, but secondly, the frickin' the chimes to each one just gets funnier as it goes on. Like when you introduce the new games, I laugh at it every time.
Yeah, I used the Arkham Asylum chart, like the chimes, and that was fun to edit. And it makes me wonder though, what the hell am I gonna do for like the other compilation videos I'm gonna do? Maybe I'll just do
sure
Arkham
you'll figure
chimes.
it out.
Fuck it.
There you go.
Besides that, the Let's Play channel is basically been restarted. Right now we're doing, or I'm doing, I don't know why I'm saying we. Right now I'm doing the Spider-Man movie game, the first Tobey Maguire one, so that's fun.
Yes.
And of course I got some other ones planned for the near future, which I'm really excited to show. But
I think you should plug your most recent Spider-Man video.
Yeah, also
which was freaking awesome.
Yeah, I did a review of Marvel Spider-Man, or Insomniac's Spider-Man game for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. I did technically talk about the remaster thanks to Swifty here.
You did a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. He gave me footage.
I don't feel like you would like. I didn't think it was necessary to talk about it too much though, because it's like it's the same game, and I think you did a good job at what you did.
I mean, also I haven't played it, so it's like I can't really talk about much anyway. So
yeah, but not too much of a difference.
Yeah, the Spider-Man review came out. That was surprisingly successful. Like it's almost at 100 views right now.
Go watch, bitches.
Yes. And I did some other stuff. I did a video about Hillmain Hotel, which was the game developed by IRG.
Did you release that?
Yes, it's out.
Oh, I didn't even see the video yet. I'll have to check it out.
Man, my biggest fan doesn't even watch my videos.
I've been off the radar for the past week.
Yeah. I did some Destroy All Humans content. I did a review at the end of August, and
that was a really good video.
I had a video come out today talking about Destroy All Humans 2, the latest remake that came out, so that's fun. And also I got some other stuff planned for next week, including a celebration for my first review since it's been over 2 years on Monday. So I got a video. And maybe a stream that'll happen. So we'll see what happens there with that. I can't wait. I'm excited. Lots of stuff happening. And also working on the Avengers review, of course, which I'm nervous about. At the same time, I am really excited. So hopefully people like it. But until next time, everyone, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. Follow us on our social media and whatnot, YouTube channels. We're always on Twitter talking about some dumb bullshit that happened during the week. So,
that's true.
Replying to Alter's shitty takes.
His takes are like absolutely like straight ass, guys. Yeah. When I tell you this, it's straight ass. Some of the worst takes. He has some interestingly good takes sometimes, but like the ones he shares to Twitter, I'm like, dude, do you want to get like burned at the stake on Twitter for these takes?
Again?
Yeah, exactly. Again, he'll get like banned or something again.
Yeah.
But
But yeah,
yeah,
lots of stuff
usually,
to look forward to. Next month is
yeah,
going to be all like, as far as the podcast, it's going to be a whole lot of like spooky, scary content. So that'll
yeah.
be fun to talk
My
about.
my favorite time of year. This and Christmas. It's like hand in hand. I'm so excited.
Hell yeah. But until next time, have a great night. Thank you all so much for watching. And of course, don't forget to take care of yourselves. See ya.